The luminosity of consciousness, the spectrum of the soul, the mystery of light. It's the first thing we look for in the morning and the last thing we see at night. To the materialist, light is a simple tool, a particle called a photon, a wave of electromagnetic radiation that allows us to navigate a world of objects. Today we're stepping beyond the veil of traditional physics. We're exploring a post-materialist perspective, where consciousness isn't an accident of biology, but a fundamental force. From the baffling discovery of 48-dimensional patterns hidden within entangled photons, to the luminous beings reported in scientifically verified near-death experiences, we acknowledge the fact that light is very mysterious. It is the bridge between the world we see and the dimensions we've only just begun to map. Let's look into the light, the visible veil. To understand the mystery, we first have to look at what we can see. Science tells us that what we call light is just a tiny fraction of a massive continuum known as the electromagnetic spectrum. From the long, slow waves of radio to the high-frequency intensity of gamma rays, the universe is pulsing with energy. Yet, our biological eyes are tuned to only a sliver, less than 1% of the total spectrum. In a traditional materialist framework, this is often treated as a simple evolutionary limit. But from a post-materialist perspective, this visible light acts as a veil. It is a narrow window into a much deeper reality. We are like observers looking through a tiny keyhole, often assuming the room on the other side is empty just because we can't see into the corners. If such a massive portion of our physical reality is invisible to us yet demonstrably real, we have to ask, what else is moving through that space? What information is being carried in the frequencies we haven't learned to tune into yet? As it turns out, when we look closer at the light we can measure, we find it's hiding a geometry far more complex than 3 dimensions. High-dimensional geometry. For decades, we've known about quantum entanglement, what Einstein famously called spooky action. At a distance, it's the phenomenon where 2 particles become so deeply linked that a change in one instantly affects the other, no matter how many miles or light years separate them. But recently, science took a giant leap forward. Researchers have begun to photograph the wave functions of entangled light, revealing intricate patterns that look less like random particles and more like sacred geometry. Here is where the materialist wall begins to crumble. To fully describe the state of these entangled photons, researchers found that the information isn't just sitting in our 3-dimensional space. These patterns revealed structures reaching up to 48 dimensions. In a traditional view, these extra dimensions are often dismissed as abstract math. But in our post-materialist framework, the light we see is not just a thing moving through space. It is a high-dimensional phenomenon, a geometric code carrying a vast amount of information that our 3D senses are only just beginning to decode. It suggests that the physical world is actually floating on a much deeper, more complex field of light. The dark sector. In modern physics, we've come to a startling realization. Everything we've ever seen, stars, planets, and even our own bodies, makes up only about 5% of the universe. The rest is what we call the dark sector. This brings us to a fascinating theoretical candidate, the dark photon. Just as regular photons carry the electromagnetic force that we can see and feel, dark photons are proposed to be the carriers of a hidden force. They are portal particles that allow the visible world to interact with the vast, invisible, dark matter realm. In a traditional materialist view, these are just more particles to be categorized. But for the post-materialist, dark photons represent something much more profound. They are hypothesized to be the mechanical interface between the physical world and the higher dimensional fields of consciousness. We can think of them as a shadow light, a bridge between the world of dense matter and the subtle, luminous realms that exist just beyond our general reach. It is a reminder that in the vacuum, there is structure and information. Our inner light. So we've talked about light in the far reaches of space and in the hidden dimensions of the quantum world. But what about the light inside us? This isn't a metaphor. Since the 1970s, researchers like Fritz Albert Popp have documented that every living thing, from a single blade of grass to a human being, is constantly emitting biophotons. These are ultra-weak light emissions that play a role in how our cells communicate. Our DNA is a conductor, using light to orchestrate the complex symphony of life. We've tried to capture this human energy field for a long time through things like aura photography and Kirlian imaging. While materialists often dismiss these as simple electrical or chemical reactions, the post-materialist view sees something more. Since our bodies are constantly producing and being shaped by this field of light, then we aren't just solid matter. We are beings of entangled light in a very literal, biological sense. Matter is confined light. Proposed most famously by physicists J.G. Williamson and Martin van der Mark in the 1990s, confined light theory, also known as the toroidal model of matter, posits that matter may be trapped or frozen light. The theory suggests that matter is simply light energy moving in such a tight self-reinforcing loop that it acquires the properties of mass and solidity. Because the light is trapped in a loop, it has rest energy. According to Einstein, if you have energy confined to a specific location, it manifests as mass. In this model, the photon wraps around itself. The electric field of the light wave creates a standing wave pattern that gives the particle its charge and spin. Accordingly, matter is light compressed into a three-dimensional form. Our physical bodies are highly organised, localised expressions of a much deeper, non-local field. In 1934, Gregory Bright and John Wheeler predicted that if you smash two photons together with enough energy, they will transform into matter. In 2021 and 2024, researchers at Brookhaven National Laboratory and other facilities successfully demonstrated this. The conversion of light into matter has been proven. If matter is actually light in a specific geometry, then everything in the universe, from a distant star to the neurons in our brain, is made of the exact same substance, light, vibrating at different frequencies and geometries. This suggests that the vacuum is actually a sea of light, and matter is where light has curled up into knots. In the quantum world, entanglement is non-local. It isn't limited by distance or even time. If consciousness is entangled with the high-dimensional architecture of light, then death is the moment the signal is released from its 3D receiver. In this view, death is a shift in the location of the observer's focus within a persistent, entangled system. There are piezoelectric microcrystals located in the brain's pineal gland. If the body is trapped light, this gland may act as an antenna for non-local consciousness. These microcrystals may be tuners that allow consciousness to interact with the broader, untrapped light of the vacuum. Individual consciousness may be an information node preserved in the cosmic network's entanglement structure. The light beyond. So far we've looked at light through the lens of mathematics and physics, but for many this isn't just a theory, it's an encounter. This brings us to the profound and growing body of research surrounding near-death experiences, also known as recalled experiences of death. It is crucial to understand that near-death experiences are no longer dismissed as mere hallucinations or brain sparks. Researchers and physicians have documented veridical accounts, cases where individuals, while clinically dead with no brain activity, accurately describe events, conversations, and specific details in the room that they would not have otherwise known. In these states, the light is a central theme. ND ears don't just see it, they feel it as a profound, overwhelming intelligence and unconditional love. They describe it as more real than our everyday world. Within this radiance, many report meeting luminous beings, entities that appear to be made of the very light they are standing in. From a post-materialist view, these are not imagination. They are encounters with consciousness that exist in those high-dimensional realms we discussed earlier. The luminous beings reported in recalled experiences of death may be the consciousnesses that survive and exist within that non-local, high-dimensional field. Since light possesses a multi-dimensional geometry, these beings may be the residents of those dimensions. When the physical body and its 3D limitations fall away, we are able to see and feel the full spectrum of reality, a reality that has been here all along, hidden in the light. The unified field. When we look at all these pieces together, the picture of our reality becomes much more coherent. It suggests that our internal biophoton field is our local connection to a vast, non-local network. When the physical senses fall away, we aren't entering a new world. We are simply experiencing the full spectrum of the one we've always been part of. Post-materialist science is finally giving us the tools to map this bridge between the physical and the transcendental. We are finding that light isn't just something that shows us the world, it is the very substance of our connection to the infinite.